conceptual perspective to things. People talk about a desire to be successful. All of the elements.
Good morning, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. Look, I'm not going to be long this morning. I just wanted to drop in on you and share something with you, hopefully that will encourage you, give you some insight, and help you make a move in an area that a lot of people struggle in. I want to first point you to the description box where you'll see a number of different resources that you can tap into. Reach out to us. Connect with us, whether you want to work with me one-on-one, whether you want to pick up one of our courses or whatever, all of that's over there. Check that out. I'm not going to stay on that too long. Hello, Kim. It's always good to see you drop in. And thank you for taking the time to visit this quick live stream. Look, one of the things that I encounter a lot are, in one form or another, the combination or presentation of a combination of worry, fear, anxiety, and stress. And I want to focus on the idea of worrying because it's interesting to me in understanding the dynamic of worrying, but also being able to help people get past worrying to overcome it. I call it the journey from being a worrier to becoming a warrior. And it's not as direct or as combative or confrontational as it may appear. When we think of becoming a warrior, we always think of being in the midst of the battle. But what we don't realize is that many warriors have long stints of not having to be at war because they are great warriors. The greater you are as a warrior, the few people and situations that move you to the point of confrontation and battle. In other words, being a warrior is embodying the confidence that it takes not to worry. And one of the things that when I started to studying the idea in the dynamic of worrying, I found out that there was a lot of research on it. And one of the things I found that was just totally amazing to me was the fact that 40% of what we worry about never even happens. Now, that's a problem. Why? Because worry is a cousin of stress, and stress has the ability to negatively impact your physical health. So when you're worrying, you're releasing hormones in your body that if they continue, in other words, if an acute moment becomes a chronic reality, you've got what's called chronic stress. Chronic stress is highly disruptive to your cerebral and neurological functions. In other words, how you think, how you act, how you respond, but it's also immensely devastating to your biological functions, your organs, your heart, your kidneys, your liver. It wreaks havoc on your body. Why? Because adrenaline and cortisol are dumped into your body. These are stress hormones that are meant and designed for you to make an acute, highly responsive, highly emphatic response to whatever is scaring you or frightening you, and you take action, you end it. It's called the fight or flight response, okay? So here's what happens. When you go into a fight or flight response, it's called that because what happens is the prefrontal cortex shuts down. And the prefrontal cortex is what controls your executive function, your decision making, your rationale, your reasons, your ability to think critically, your ability to take action based off of reason and rationale. That shuts down. And the reason it shuts down is, believe it or not, that part of your brain, that small that small part of your entire being, takes about 30% of your blood flow and oxygen on any given moment, because that's how highly active it is, and that's how important, and that's what it needs. But when it's time for fight or flight, it shuts down. That blood and oxygen is redirected to your extremities, your arms and your legs, for the purpose of fighting or fleeing. And what happens is, at that moment, you can't think. Here's the problem, though. When you go into fight or flight, the things that make you able to run faster than you would normally run, fight harder than you would normally fight, based on the level of fear, is the release of cortisol and adrenaline. At that moment, that's a great thing. However, if cortisol, especially cortisol, is left into the bloodstream in the body for a prolonged period of times, as in chronic stress or chronic worry, chronic fear, then what happens is it starts to attack the body. It starts to have a counterproductive impact on the body physiologically. It also interferes with the function of the brain and the function of so many other things that are part of the nervous system. So you have this thing happening, right? And then imagine that happening because of something that never ever comes to fruition. 40% of what people worry about never happen. Check this out, though. Another 17 or 18% of what people worry about are things that have already happened. It's over with. It's done. Now you should be responding or focusing on how you're going to deal with it and respond to it. You can't stop it because it's already happened. So you're worrying 40% of what you worry about. So almost 60% of what people worry about are things that will either never happen or can't be controlled because it's already happened. When it boils down to it, less than 8% of what we worry about are actually things we can control and that will happen. The rest of it is things we're putting on ourselves because we choose to focus on the negative. We choose to give power to the things that pop into our mind that have a negative implication. And so when I look at moving from a warrior to a warrior, I'm not just talking about the ability to go out and just impact the world or the ability to take on every challenge in life. Yes, that's a great thing. That and you can develop that. It doesn't mean you're going to win every battle, but it means that you're battle ready. That at some point in life you'll be battle tested, and that the confidence of how well you fared over the years says, I'm going to more than likely win, and even if I lose, I'll find a way to make something positive come out of it because I'm just built like that. I tell myself on many occasions when it seems like everything that can possibly go wrong goes wrong, when it seems like and I've had a year where it's been one thing after another. And you sit up and people are looking at me like, you're in denial. No, I'm a warrior. I know who I am. And it's become a mantra that those who follow me know it. It's like when I hit the wall, when I run into this thing that's bigger than me, when I come to a point and a place, instead of worrying, instead of becoming frenetic and unglued, instead of sitting up and saying, oh my God, why me? I sit up and I look myself in the mirror. I go in the restroom, I close the door. Just me, myself, and the Creator. And I look myself in the mirror and I say, Rick, you're built for this. At the time that I say it, I don't have the answer yet. But I know the answer's on its way because I'm one with God. God is in me and around me. The mind of God is in me and around me. The answers are in me and around me. And I understand that. And so I don't have the answer. When I'm standing in front of this mirror and I'm looking at myself and I say, you're built for this, I don't have the answer yet. I don't have a clue of how I'm coming out of it or what I'm going to do specifically, but I know I'm coming out. Why? Because I'm built for it. I've proven over and over again, if I stand, if I focus, if I become fixed, if I become committed, if I make a choice to win, a choice to be still, not in my action, but in my spirit. Y'all don't hear me. See, what I'm trying to say is there's a place where you get still. In matter of fact, there's a part in the Old Testament that says, be still and know that I am God. It doesn't mean don't take action. It means still your spirit. It means walk in a confidence that you're built for this. Walk in a confidence that absolutely nothing you're going through has the power to break you unless you let it. You make a choice. That's the first thing you do. You make a choice, not just that you're going to win. Make a choice that you're going to live a life of joy. Make a choice that you're going to live a life of fulfillment. Make a choice that you're going to live a life of happiness, that you're going to live a life of utter peace, not because of the external circumstances that you don't control, but because of the inner force that you do. I mean, there are times when I'm literally back against the wall or back on the floor. And I'm like, you built for this. You got it. You got it. And there was a time my only prayer was to God. My only prayer to God at the worst time in my life was it, oh, you got to get me out of this. Oh my God, why did you do this? Oh my God, please deliver. My prayer was me manning up and saying, hey, there's something for me in this struggle. I'm going to take the advice of my great-grandfather, who also was my father, my adopted father, and I'm going to understand that I'm in a storm right now, and that in the storm, my number one responsibility as a man is to come out of the storm a better man than when I went in. It's not to fold, it's not to fall, it's not to whine, it's not to finger point and blame. It's to sit up and say, shape me, mold me, build character in me. I've got the fortitude to push through. I'm built for this. I make the choice that I'm coming out a better man than I went in. That's what I'm talking about. It's the choice. Then it's the courage to keep forward. First, you make the choice. Then you exhibit courage. And courage isn't the absence of fear. But I tell you what, if you continuously execute courage, fear dissipates over time. And when you can operate outside of fear, I believe it was Will Smith that said, God put everything worth having on the other side of fear. You got to conquer fear before you can ever be a true warrior, before you can ever really truly stand up and have everything that you were designed to have, do everything that you were designed to do. You've got to first conquer fear. You got to be willing to move through it. And that's a problem for most people, because most people have been conditioned to seek comfort over character. And see, the thing is, I've learned you can't build character in comfort. You got to go through some things. And if you truly understand the nature of your design, if you have a unique and specific and personal relationship with the Most High, then you are able to understand that it can't break me. I'm built for this. The God that I know created me for this moment. I'm not going to fold. I'm not going to falter. I'm going to stand up. I said something. I actually posted something earlier this morning to the effect that someone asked me in an interview, how would I like to be judged at the end of my life? What will I like people to look at and see about me? And my response was, I don't want people to judge me by my accomplishments, even though they are a reflection of my work and my commitment and my purpose and my legacy. But what I want to be judged by instead of my accomplishments are my failures. And they kind of looked at me funny and like, I don't know. I said, I want to be judged by how I responded when I failed, when I find myself face down or back down on the ground, or when I find myself having experienced a setback, when I find myself going through it and up against a seemingly insurmountable obstacle, and that it seems that I have failed and there's no way out. I want people to see how many times I fell and got back up, dusted myself off, squared my shoulders, and lifted my chin and moved forward. I want people to look at how many times I made a wrong decision and could have felt the burden of guilt and just gave in, but decided that I was going to straighten out and walk in the purity of my design. I want people to look at how many times I had an opportunity to quit and refused. Judge me by that. But that comes from a choice and courage. But when you make the choice and you have the courage, you are able to exhibit a level of control that keeps you focused and fixed on the things that matter. I'm not in a situation to talk about the accomplishments because I was perfect. I'm not in a situation to talk about the accomplishments because I always made the right choice. I'm not in a situation to talk about the accomplishments because I never had setbacks. I'm not in a situation to talk about the accomplishments because I was always in the right place. I'm in a situation to talk about the things that I've accomplished because I refused to quit. I refused to give in. I was relentless in my pursuit of my purpose. That's a control, and then it all is solidified by commitment. Whether it's my marriage, whether it's my business, whether it's my parenting, it's all solidified by commitment. A commitment to be the best husband I can be, a commitment to be the best father I can be, a commitment to be the best friend I can be, a commitment to be the best family patriarch I can be, a commitment to God that says I'm going to walk in the fullness of my design. I'm not going to balk because of fear. I'm not going to renege because of pressure. I'm not going to turn around and retreat because it's uncomfortable. "60% of our worries have no validity whatsoever. 40% will never even, of the things we worry about, will never happen. Another 17 to 20% have already happened. Another 11%, even if it happens, won't have the impact that we think it will. We're talking about 8% of the things we worry about are things we should actually be focused on. And we shouldn't be worrying then. There's a reason that if you look at Holy Scripture from any faith, you're told not to worry. Worry is a counterintuitive, counterproductive force that shuts down productivity and advancement. That's why in Christian Holy Scripture, it tells you, be anxious for nothing. Be anxious about nothing. Don't let anxiety creep in to the focal point of your existence. It has no true intrinsic value. I believe it's a part in there that says, what does worrying add to it? Look, I'm about to get off of here. And I hope that I've left you with something that you can grab and put together. You got to make a choice. Not just that you're going to go to war every day. That's a reality that's highly intensive and draining. Yeah, you need to have the confidence of a warrior, but you need to be so committed that that's the thing that I've learned. Whether I'm dealing with people, whether I'm dealing with life, whether I'm dealing with situations, the average person that will challenge you, the average situation that when you are committed, you'll find out you have fewer challenges. There are a bunch of people that will come against you. There are a bunch of situations and entities that will come against you until they find out you're committed to going the distance. Because see, not everybody's willing to go the distance. One of my favorite quotes is that it is not the violence that sets a man apart, but the distance he is prepared to go. It's not how violent you get, because you got a bunch of people who can get violent, but how far are you willing to go? Are you willing to go? See, when you make up in your mind that you're literally willing to die, to have what it is you say you deserve, the people who are willing to stand in your way at that point, because anytime you get in front of somebody who's willing to die for what they want to try to stop them, you have to be willing to die too. I find out that my enemies the list of enemies willing to really truly confront me and be in front of me are few. Why? Because most of them aren't willing to go the distance. See, I'm not going to engage anything that I'm not willing to go the distance for, because I don't want to be involved in something that I'll put down if it gets too tough. So when I choose to do something, I'm going the distance. I'm going to either get it or I'm going to die trying. And I'm okay with that. That's the choice. That's the courage. That is the control. That is the commitment. That is how you move from being a worrier to a warrior. It's not about fighting. It's about being prepared to and willing to and unshaken by anything that gets in front of you. Why? Because you are confident in your design, but even more confident in your designer. On that note, I'm going to get out of here. I really appreciate all of you stopping by. Again, for those of you who may want to work with me, there's some information in the description box. There are some other resources in the description box. But whatever it is, make a commitment that today is the day that you're going to be sold out to being the best you can be in this world. You're going to be sold out to living a life of confidence, living a life of courage, and walking away from constant worry, fear, and anxiety that do nothing but paralyze and cripple you. Make today the day that you make that choice. Whatever moves you have to make it happen, it's up to you, but you've got to walk out, because you have this unbelievable design inside of you that is full of potential, far beyond what you can imagine. Step out of the idea of mediocrity and step into the spectrum of greatness and watch your design and your potential unfold. That's my challenge to you. As I say always, I'm going to live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I die on the end. I'm going to challenge you to do the same thing. On that note, I'm out of here. You guys have an unbelievable day.
Hello everybody, Dr. Rick Wallace here, dropping in with a little special announcement. For those who have followed me for any stretch of time, you know, outside of the businesses that I run, like Myriad Business Solutions, the Visionetics Institute, Odyssey Media Group, I also do a great deal of work inside of the inner city communities in Houston, Dallas, and other areas. I'm asking now, as we push a fundraiser, that you support what the Odyssey Project is doing in the inner cities, especially with programs like Black Men Lead, which is a rite of passage initiative, and Restoring Ghetto's Forgotten Daughters, which is a program focused on helping young girls, but boys as well, suffering from childhood sexual abuse, rape, molestation, domestic abuse, absentee fatherhood, and so many other things. The information will be in the box. Thank you.
From a conceptual perspective, people talk about a desirable success. All of the elements